This video is designed to specifically show you how to create a test pulling questions from your question bank. So here I am in one of my classes. I'm going to add material so I can start a new test or quiz. This one will just be a practice for us, practice one for us, so I'm just going to call it ELA Unit 1. You can assign a due date if you like. You can go ahead and do grading categories. I don't have my grading options up, but once you do have your grade weights, then you'll be able to select those specific grading categories. I have numeric. This will be a numeric test. You have some options here whether you want to assign it to specific students or the whole class. If you want it published, you may be creating a test ahead of time. In that case, you may want to have it unpublished. If you want students to be able to comment on the test to give you their feedback on it, is also an option there. So I'm going to create that. Now that I'm in the test, I'm going to add a question. Now, if you want to create the question from scratch, you can definitely do that using these options. But a great option as we build our question banks is to use this from question banks button. If you choose random questions, then what it's going to do is it's just going to randomly select a specified number of questions from your question bank. I don't really suggest that, especially if you have different types of questions in your question bank. So for example, if you say you want to pull 5 questions, you may have some students who end up with 5 multiple choice questions and some students who end up with 5 essay questions. So unless you have created your question bank very specifically, I would suggest pulling individual questions. From here, I want to do a search. I can definitely go to my curriculum resources if I know that I have specific questions that I've created. But as we build our question banks, we want to be able to use the learning objective. So what I'm going to do here is that I know that I want to assess a specific standard. So I'm going to find that standard here in the learning objective section. So I'm going to do reading literary text, language, craft, and structure, and our first indicator here. So I've selected it. You can select as many indicators as you like. I just want to do the one, so I'm going to select that. And now it's going to show me that for this standard, I have a question in my question bank that I've already developed. From here, I can go ahead and set the points. Maybe I want it to be 5 points on my test. And then when I'm ready, I can select the question and add the question to my test. So when I created this question in my question bank, I made a note for myself and my students that this question referred to a specific text. So when you're adding in a text for a question, whether it could be a map, it could be some sort of document, or an ELA, a lot of times it's going to be a poem or a story or some type of essay that the students need to refer to as they answer the question. What you do for that is you select Add Question and Add Text. This will bring up a text box where you can type in the information. But what we've decided to do as well is to create a folder in Google Drive that actually has all the documents that we want to pull from for our test. So I'm going to do Insert Content, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive Resource app. From here, I'm going to find the folder. I put everything under our curriculum folder, so you just have to remember where you put everything. And then I'm going to do ELA test reading. So in here, I can see I have a PDF. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select the option for Import Embed. It's going to upload. It's going to pop in there, and now I'm going to select Create Text. So now when I have this, and I can obviously move this question around. Later on, I'll pull it up and make that before the question. But now there's a PDF in here. So when the students take the test, they'll have this PDF. They'll actually be able to pop it out into a separate screen and read that selection when they answer the questions. So that's a real easy way to pull in text, pull in documents, anything you want to regularly use in your tests. You can save it into a Google Drive folder and then pull it in for that test. That's also how you pull in questions based on learning objectives, questions that you have created in your question banks. From there, I could just keep adding, depending on what we've learned in class, and create a test with all from my question banks, questions I've already created to make a complete test for my class.